Welcome back to the MMR Mile Marker Review podcast for poets and storytellers from Cowley College. I am your host, Jayden Palmer. Every couple of months, we will bring you poems and creative short stories that have been submitted and chosen by yours truly. Thanks for being with us. This is a special edition MMR podcast because today we have live works from the Poet Laureate of Kansas, Huskar Medina. On January 30th, Medina made a special guest appearance at Cowley's Arc City campus where he hosted a poetry workshop, Truth to Empathy. In his workshop, Kansas Poet Laureate Huskar Medina told us all truth is poetry, says Marla Cervantes, Director of Creative Writing Program. I believe that. My inspiration also comes so vividly from the outdoors that I would also say all nature is poetry. Maybe we need to find our poetry, our truth, where we find our inspiration, where we feel most ourselves. That's what I wish for my students and for all of you. After the workshop ended, Medina performed at Cowley's Writers' Corner held at the Burford Theater. After students performed, Huskar Medina closed the night. Stay tuned until the end of the podcast to hear Huskar Medina perform live two of his very own works. But first, here are our very own Cowley writers performing their original works. Starting off the selection is Amy Kazushka's piece, Delicious Words, followed by Rachel Schreiner's The Night Sky.
Words, delicious words, words like luscious, juicy, moist. Words, beautiful words, words like stunning, alluring, exquisite. Words, kind words, words like considerate, altruistic, gracious. Words, angry words, words like furious, enraged, sullen. Words, sad words, words like somber, wistful, dejected. Words, loving words, words like devoted, faithful, passionate. Words, educational words, words like scholarly, cultivation, commencement. Words, career words, words like orientation, evaluation, promotion. Words, family words, words like tribe, generation, home. Words, life words, words like soul, energy, essence. Words.
The lid to the container of my life, the airtight seal holding me down, stopping me from seeing anything past now, stopping me from going further, feeling more than the miserable nothings of life, until it's too much, and my small body overflows. The night sky, the lid to my container of life.
I thought fire hoses were supposed to put out fires, but instead you used it on us. Police dogs, cops on horses, tear gas, bombing our churches, hanging us on trees. Stand up, black people, we will soon be free. The 12 years you publicized the fight for our freedom could never be enough, because it began hundreds of years before that. Our villages were our peace. That's where we maintained our freedom. But like most things, you took it away. Victims of chains, slave ships, and auctions, colored bathrooms and water fountains. A sick world undeserving of us is where we had to raise our children. The tum of the drums, the chant of the warriors, the wicked waistline of the African queen, all of this represented what made us free. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Maya Angelou, the Black Panthers, the NAACP. These were symbols of hope for us to regain our freedom. Our oppressors dressed in long white cloaks while burning the cross of our God. We serve the same God. We serve the same God. But that didn't matter. You just saw our pigment. You saw the darkness what actually gave us light. You saw our blackness. Just to let you know, you missed a few scriptures. Love thy neighbor as thyself, Matthew 22, verse 39. So God so loved the world, John 3:16. Love each other as I have loved you, John 15, verse 12. All we longed for was our freedom to write, the freedom to dance, the freedom to eat, the freedom to sleep, the freedom to question, the freedom to fight for our rights. We just wanted to live and do that peacefully, but no. What makes us any less? We are a community, or even better, a palette of shades longing for what was taken away from us against our will. Why aren't we deserving of such a human right that we now have to look at as a gift? We were beaten, raped, sodomized, spat on, bullied, given diseases, killed. We worked for people who considered themselves the closest thing to God. Every day we struggle. We struggle to breathe in this world that is contaminated with hate. We struggle to move up the ladder. We struggle with depression, with poverty, and with the sense of hopelessness. A misconception of who we really are. A misconception of beauty within. All of this makes us want to fight more. Fight for those who never had a voice. Fight for the ones without a voice. Fight for those who had a voice. Fight for those who will have a voice. But nothing illuminates us more than the freedom we will not stop fighting for. Take a knee and honor the ones, the voices we long to hear.
When I wrote this poem, I was overwhelmed with the feeling of alienation and loneliness, explained writer Deshae Stubbs. I thought about how much people like my ancestors, or even my parents and relatives, have overcome, and even what I've overcome in the 20 years that I've been alive. I wanted to write something that would remind me to continue to press the mark and find avenues to succeed. With this poem, Stubbs is reminding us that we have purpose and all of our pain and suffering is for a reason, and we can never forget that. Next up is Stage Fright by Cheyenne White.
So it's so easy practicing alone in my room because the only eyes in here belong to my cat. I'll recite my works over and over again until I deem them good enough to stop, until it's as close to perfect as it can be, and every syllable comes out the way I want it to, the way I intended, so I don't embarrass myself in front of all these people. But then I climb up on the stage, and all those hours of practice are gone, vanished like water down the shower drain, non-existent. And this light is so bright, and I can't see, and my lungs are clenching like they've forgotten how to function, and I'm stuttering, stumbling, scared, embarrassed, wishing to be anywhere but up here. And my mom says that I did great, but I'm pretty sure she only says that because she's my mom, and it's her obligation to reassure me. But I got home and let anxiety steal my sleep, each moment replaying in my head until I'm wishing that I never got up here in the first place.
The thing about the two letters is that it only ever speaks to averages. When you say you're okay, it means today was just the same as the rest. A blur of faded colors and a sun that moves at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It leaves burning scars on the night sky that barely heal by daybreak. The thing about okay is it never tells the whole truth. Its spectrum stops at black and white, and it fades out to gray. An infinite in-between that clouds the sky like an omen of a rainy day. But there are no clouds above you. There are no bodies beside you. There is nobody without you, and I solemnly swear there is nobody within you. You're just a color in the sky. The thing about saying, I'm okay, is that for a moment you might just believe it. You might say to yourself, it's not so bad, but my mother raised me to tell the truth. So I apologize. That's it. I'm sorry for deceiving your delicate designs. To tell the truth, you're not okay. You're not better now, not wise to the way you twist that paired dagger into your bone. I'm a parlor fool, a comic witty but without talent, recycling the same joke to you over and over again, asking you why no one laughs, and why your smile can never reach your eyes. The thing about it all is, you're not okay, and at this rate you damn well will never be. One of these days you'll cave, you'll crack, you'll peel the skin of reality back and find yourself a room, a pearl white room where everything's just fine. where the walls don't start, and the floor does not stop, and your voice won't echo back to you through my head, no matter how hard I scream. And you'll run, you'll walk, and you'll crawl, and you'll crumple into a ball and cry. And then you'll really know what it's like to be okay. That day, today, is on its way to becoming your reality. Now here I am, and there you'll be, a singular new entity. Yet all the same, you'll be as always just okay.
Come sleep, oh sleep, that certain knot of peace. Why do you not come to me like you come to others? Did I do something wrong to make you stay away? 'Cause while I lay awake at night, the ones I love sleep so innocently. 'Cause my eyes stay peeled like they're glued to my brows. Why do the monsters come while you stay away? Did they threaten you like they threatened me? Why can't you just come and stay with me?
In her poem inspired by insomnia, Rachel Schreiner addresses sleep. Why does it come to some and not others? Definitely a significant question. I have been thinking about writing insomnia for a long time, and I just couldn't find the right way to say it, said Rachel Schreiner. Then we had a prompt in class and it just clicked into place. Sometimes that's just how it goes. Now, please enjoy a piece by Journey Schul called The Feeding.
I bought her favorite flowers, but she wasn't big on roses. We wrapped up the purple petals and puffed till we were kissing roaches. There on her porch we sat, just swapping confessions, both craving the way love tasted before it was gifted in sessions. Pretty soon she's eager to escape to her room where we cut the fluorescence and start feeling each other in a way far purer than presence. Blindly exploring as I take her in sections, confidently conquering her anatomy like a fatal infection. I glance in the mirror and I'm disturbed by a distorted reflection, 'cause this isn't love, it's just the feeding of our need for affection.
Black is a word that holds so much power. Black became the definition of our people. Black should have been replaced with the word beautiful or even brown. Black is simply a crown. Black is unbelievable, undefinable, unforthcoming strength. Black is worthiness at an unrelinquishable length. Black is African print, hair ties, and the coils in our natural hair. Black is hip-hop music, blues, and rap, things we all created to handle the fear. Black should be capitalized. Black should be said with your chest out and your head high. Black is power. Black is purity. Black is happiness. Black is freedom. Black is worth the climb. Black is not poverty. Black is not crime. Black is not prejudice, neither is it colorism. But black is not classism. Black is our voice because it comes with a roaring thunder when we speak. Black is all of our culture, which makes all of we. Black is all parts of speech. Black is adjective, verb, adverb, and noun. Black is having an unforgettable crown. Black is global. When nothing is left to say, black is black.
It starts as a whisper, a hushed, tickling breath, faint, near invisible, feather-soft fingers that are welcoming, a voice that is reassuring and warm like sunshine, and it sneaks inside like a weasel, and then, too late, we realize what they're doing. The warmth increases, burns white hot, they whisper in volume, increases in volumes, echoing in a perfect crescendo. The hushed breath becomes louder and louder, more powerful, raging like a tornado, expression darkening like a storm cloud, and men don't realize the control they have, how intimidating they can be, looming, unforgiving like a predator in wait of a meal, posed to attack, to break, to hurt, to haunt, and their hands touch places that they shouldn't, burning unbidden on our skin, tearing, claiming, stealing, and it hurts, and this body is mine, it's not his. But he's carved his very presence into my flesh, because that's what men do. They take and take and take, until all that's left is a voiceless hollow shell, decorated with bruises, purple and blue, red and white. And then they leave, because they've had their fill, their fun, but their touch lingers like a bad aftertaste, stays on our skin like a stain seen by our eyes alone. And it won't matter how much we scrub, no matter how hot the water is, because that's what men do. That's what they are. They smile and pretend until it's ready to strike. And when they strike, they destroy.
I am from seed, I am from womb, I am from ashes, dust, and moon. I am from immigrants and the American dream, from a military man who expected everything clean. I am from the hopes of a child, the dreams of her youth, the promise of forever, just praying it was the truth. I am from sadness, I am from stress. That does not mean that I am less. I am from trauma, I am from poor, I am from hiding behind the door. I am from strong women and weak, angry men, but this is now, and that was then. Today, my life is much more fun. It's full of family, my wife and sons. I am from a life that I can now call my own, a family, a home, in a world way outside my own. I am from my tenacity and inability to quit. Don't worry, I can take a hit. I am from my laughter, kindness, and big heart above all. Everyone is welcome. Come one, come all. My trauma, my pain, they always remain, but there have been so many more gains.
Closing her poem, I Am From, Amy Kazushko ends on a positive note, recognizing the pain from her past and the gains of her present, making us stop and think, where am I from? That concludes the student performers for this segment. Next up is Huskar Medina performing his original works. I would give a brief introduction, but why not let him speak for himself? Now, for the moment you have been waiting for, here is Huskar Medina's works Mi Isla and Nuevo American.
I think the most important word in this poem for me is the word jibaros. Jibaros has a very negative connotation in Puerto Rico still to this day. My father's father was a jibaro. Jibaros are men who've worked the land, referred to as peasant farmers. And I like to believe that we have, not just in Puerto Rico, but also in the U.S., because of someone's occupation, how they make a living, we have this sometimes false understanding of who they are because of the career they've chosen. So I believe there are jibaros in Puerto Rico, and I believe we treat people like jibaros here as well, that work the land. Mi Isla. I ate a mango today. It was mostly green with reds and yellows. El Yunque at dawn is mostly green with reds and yellows. My homeland's enchanted, full of shady jungle mountains, gawking naked beaches, slowly necking ocean. There, sea breezes woo the palm trees and peeping coconuts faint from holding on too long in sand asleep, daydreaming of me. Tonight, un brindis por ti, papá. Let us pretend the crickets are drunken coquis de baranda, struggling with loss, singing in the wrong key, playing out of tune, unable to find their way home. Let us pretend we are surrounded by vacation, not work, that all this wheat is beach, that the above blue is ocean. Let us pretend you are watching me, ripe in a hammock's womb, strung to horizons with no ocean or beach sand near, or fear that I've become landlocked here, surrounded by jibaros who don't like jibaros, still an island. I've come to some realizations I thought that were true initially, and as I continued to go around and speak to people about my understanding of what it means for me to be here, there's a few things that I've realized and I've shared with people, and I'll share that before sharing this poem called Nuevo American. The connotation of being called an immigrant now has such a negative definition to it now. I think the way it's described as an invader, as someone who's a criminal, someone that's untrustworthy, it's not true at all. But I'm still not willing to accept what someone calls me anymore. So I've decided to use a new word for myself and where I come from and how I got here. And it's a Nuevo American, which is just a new American. The truth that I've come to is that if we are not indigenous to the land we are on, then we are all immigrants. And that We're all Americans if there are no borders. Now, we are not all immigrants because some of us were brought here by force. That's something else we have to acknowledge before I read this poem. So this poem is entitled Nuevo American. Don't call me immigrant. I'm the new American, striving in New America as a new American. I'm not your invader, not an animal, no criminal. I'm a just person, just striving in a new America. In New America, I'm a full-time student, overtime worker, volunteering in my free time, if I plan enough ahead for free time, if I can even afford the free time, if my free time is approved. I work hard in New America, third shift warehouse, second shift my house, always on call, no days off, freelance for life, 4 jobs a week, blue and white collar. Don't call me immigrant. I am the new American, surviving in New America as a new American. I am not your invader, not an animal, no criminal. I am a just person, just surviving in a new America. This is New America. Student loans for all. High rent, higher utilities, low pay, rising healthcare costs, the cost of living deadly, no living wage, living enraged because my cousins are encaged for wanting to live in a safer part of New America. Don't call me immigrant. I am the new American, living in New America as a new American. I am not your invader, not an animal, no criminal. I am a just person, just living in a new America. Strong and proud, able to withstand the distance I have traveled, the distance from my family, the distance between us, the distance of our dialects, the distance in our churches, the distance in our homes, the distance between my ancestors and my grandchildren, the distance from the streets to the dorm rooms, the distance from the field to the corner office suite. Don't call me immigrant. I am the new American, dreaming of New America as a new American. I am not your invader, not an animal, no criminal. I am a just person, just dreaming of a new America. Old America. Don't be afraid. We are all America, North America, Central America, South America. We are all Americans. We all strive in Americas. We all survive in Americas. We all live in Americas. They are all the same America. We all dream of a greater America. I want you to be paid a living wage, live in affordable housing without college debt or medical debt or credit card debt or national debt. I want no more racism. I'm speaking of a new America. I am part of New America, whether you like it or not. So join me, please.
The story behind any piece of writing is just as important as the writing itself. Without story, there is nothing to be told and nothing to be felt from different moments in our lives. During Huskar Medina's workshop at Cowley, he told us that all poetry is truth. Every feeling, every thought, and every gesture that pours into our works is worth something, and we can never forget that. Ending with a quote from Medina himself, "May our voices ring true, and may our truth have the grace of beauty." We'd like to thank our producer for this podcast, the ever-creative Meg Smith and her team member from the Mass Communications Department, Tasia Washington, for filming our production, and then Brandon Olson for providing our audio. We'd also like to thank Shannon Martin, the director of the Burford Theater, for providing a beautiful space for our writers to perform their works. Thanks to the writers whose works were in our podcast, and to Marla Cervantes for directing the creative writing program and Writer's Corner. Special thanks to Michelle Schoon, Robin Graves, Rama Peru, Chris Ripley, and Jose Cervantes. And a final thanks to Huskar Medina for his special appearance at Cowley. We hope you enjoyed these selections and hope that you come back for some more amazing works in our later podcasts.